Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Wadier.
And I'm Tommy Welling, and you're listening to the Fasting for Life podcast.
This podcast is about using fasting as a tool to regain your health, achieve ultimate wellness, and live the life you truly deserve.
Each episode is a short conversation on a single topic with immediate actionable steps. We cover everything from fat loss and health and wellness to the science of lifestyle design.
We started Fasting for Life because of how fasting has transformed our lives, and we hope to share the tools that we have learned along the way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fasting for Life podcast. My name is Dr. Scott Wadier, and I'm here, as always, with my good friend and colleague, Tommy Welling. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Hey, Scott, how are you?
Fantastic, my friend. We are in the thick of it. It is right smack dab in the middle of Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we are in the holiday season. Hope that every one of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And yeah, we're going to talk about why now is the ideal time to dive in and push into your fasting lifestyle and your weight loss goals. So if you're like, I don't want to hear this, I'm in the holidays and I'm just trying to survive, right?
Right.
I'm going to encourage you to give it a listen. If you're brand new to the podcast, you've come in right at a great time, because we're going to be navigating this holiday season and holiday weight gain and all the negative connotations and things that come around this time of year, from all the way back from, when the Christmas trees go up in mid-July here at Hobby Lobby here in Texas, through, the candy-laden month of October through November into Christmas and New Year's. We want to be your guides and really set you up for success for 2025. And this is something that you started your fasting journey in January, and then I started mine later that year in June. So our first holiday season was really eye-opening. So we'll share a little bit about that, but we really want to have a conversation around now, why now is the right time, and talk about big picture and just kind of pull away the mystical myths and misconnotations and misconceptions, I should say, around the holiday season. So I'll tell you this is when we have a lot of engagement. And I believe we're doing something right and doing something good for everybody, the listeners, our coaching clients, and our challengers. So before we dive into that, Tommy, I want to welcome all the new listeners in. Head back and listen to episode 1. If you're new, you want to know more about Tommy, about myself, why we do what we do, and why we are fasting lifestyle enthusiasts, and why we believe this is the best and most important way to regain your health and lose weight and reverse disease. So welcome into you. If you're a long-term listener, special shout out and just a moment of gratitude, this holiday season for y'all being a part of this journey with us. We shared our story 4 years ago, coming up on 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy moly. You just saw my brain like stop working in real time. I was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And I could never have imagined the near 4 million downloads and tens of thousands of people that we've coached, and tens of thousands and thousands and thousands of people that we've had conversations with and engaged with, and transformations that we've seen just by sharing our story and kind of walking this lifestyle out with y'all. So thank you to all of you for being on this journey with us and tuning in and sharing and liking and downloading and reviewing. And, that really helps us make a greater impact, which is ultimately what we want, not just for this episode, but overall for what we do at Fasting for Life, Tommy. So just a moment of gratitude for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys very much. That's the reason why we do it. And absolutely, coming back to this time of the year, it's like we can be preparing, or we can be kind of taking our foot off of the gas and kind of relegating ourselves to, just another holiday season. And like for me, it was just another season of probably gaining 5 to 10 pounds, over the scale between, some long-term fat stores, but also some glycogen and volatility and, some indulgent meals here and there. But really it was a little less about those 1 or 2 meals. And it was about that that mindset of just going into the whole holiday season and kind of gearing up for, oh, you know, another New Year's resolution. You know, 20 years of like weight loss resolutions, pretty much. I'm probably just going to do that again this year, right? And just kind of going into that gear that I had been so comfortable doing every holiday season in the past. And so for me, I think it was about seeing things a little bit differently. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, especially if this is maybe your first holiday season, even considering or diving into more consistent intermittent fasting and nutritional food choices. No matter what your long-term goals are, this holiday season can be absolutely the best one yet, and you don't have to change everything to do it either.
And so let's demystify the holidays right now, because some of you may have joined us for the late October challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So started right around Halloween, and just an incredible event. So many great testimonies. So many people were ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And just actually absolutely crushed it. And then we've got the challenge coming up here, the last one of the year, coming up here, smack dab in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we do this very strategically.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one isn't until late January, early February. Because, but if you know me, I have no calendar. I have no concept of a timeline. It is like something that my brain just does not process. So, when we look at, New Year's resolutions and the failure, we don't want to operate with the status quo. We want to do something different. So we set you up for success now. And then we come back when all the holiday hangovers, not literally in terms of alcohol, but figuratively in terms of stress and time and travel and all that, wears off. Then we're ready to drop some momentum and motivation bombs on y'all and get you moving right in the right direction again. Sure. So when we look at this holiday season and this mythical creature of, I'm going to gain weight during the holidays. It is what it is. This kind of, it's just kind of the season, and I'll survive it, right? Rather than thrive in it. The reality is if we look at the research, typically during the holiday season, most people will gain anywhere between 1 to 2.5 kilos. So just over 2 pounds up to about 5 pounds.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can gain that after a big Thanksgiving meal. Now,
sure. Yeah.
Gain fat, right? And that's not going to stay, but that's typically, when you look at the research and when it all shakes out, right? That's about what we gain during this last quarter of the year, the last 2 months of the year, right? Now, the problem is that we tend to not lose it throughout the rest of the year.
Okay.
So year after year, we're now gaining this to just over 2 to 5 pounds year after year after year.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem. And the reality is that we're going to argue today in the conversation that this is the time to do it. There's no better time to focus on it now. And we're not talking about, not going to the holiday parties and not having the Thanksgiving dinner and, being that crazy person that brings your scale to Christmas Eve celebration, right? To weigh your potatoes. No.
Oh no. Don't be that person.
But why most people struggle during the holiday season, they struggle most with the nutrition and their fasting. So their food choices and their fasting windows, right? So Tommy, this is a season, what'd you call it? A season of OMAD.
Yeah. It could be like a season of defaulting to OMAD. Like, okay, well, I'm good with fasting, but I'm just kind of going into neutral, during this time of the year. So maybe I'm just going to default to something where I don't have to set my timer. Right. This is the time of year where
autopilot.
I'm going to put it in autopilot. I'm putting it on cruise control. So I'm not going to set my fasting timer. How could I do that? I could do that with a simple OMAD, or maybe a simple, window, which, a lot of us might default to a 6 hour or an 8 hour window, which can be very slippery also, especially for maintaining control over the scale. But defaulting to OMAD can be very problematic too.
Yeah. And the reality is that, we have the stats that show the gain, and it's just kind of like, I can't be on point. So what's the point, right? I can't be strict. Like, I don't want to do that. Well, it's the holidays, right? And the reality is, if you talk to any health and wellness coach, trainer, anyone in that space, weight loss, they're going to say that like December is like the quietest month of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Where'd everybody go?
Where'd everybody go? Like you're just losing game. This isn't the time of year that people hire a coach, right?
Yeah.
But here's the reality, right? If you're in a 10-game hitting streak, right? I feel like the MLB playoffs just ended. It goes to like the fall classic is now like into November, right?
Yeah.
The World Series. If you're in a 10-game hitting streak, you're not going to go to your coach and be like, "Hey coach, how do I get better?"
All right.
The coach isn't even going to look at you. It's like a no-hitter. Like everybody in the dugout like turns around, right? They don't even want to watch. Like you're on fire.
I'm not going to mess with this guy right now. Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're in a slump, that's when you need it the most. And that's why this time of year, we do this additional challenge that we have coming up next week. Because this is the time we're going to argue that it's the best time to start. Because you don't need the big overhaul. You don't need the massive amount of strategy and planning. You just need a little bit of motivation and momentum.
Yeah.
To make this holiday season the best yet and to set yourself up for massive success for 2025, being ahead of the game so you can enjoy the holiday season and you can make progress throughout.
A little bit of accountability, a little bit of strategy going, how do I weave in these things, these strategies that are going to help with my long-term goals and then weave them into my holiday season rather than feeling like I have to shy away from the holiday season in order to get results, because that's where I lived for a long time. It was like I would get frustrated when we would get another invitation to another holiday party. We have family scattered all around Houston, and we would drive back and forth to all these different, events, and they would be mounting frustration. I would lose sight of the fact that like these are amazing opportunities for, connection and family time. But I was frustrated because I knew the scale was going up because I didn't have control over those actual food choices all the time, a lot of cravings, blood sugar volatility, things like this, where I didn't know how to put the strategies in place and enjoy these important times during the year as well. It's like good problems to have, but looking back, like all I saw was just mounting frustration. The more opportunities there were.
So a lot of the times the holiday season is people see it as a reason to not get started. We see it differently. Right. And again, this misconception that they gorge themselves at dinners around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep.
But that's just a few days of high calorie eating, right? So I used to have certain Thanksgiving and Christmas shirts, right? Yep. That would make me feel better and feel more comfortable. And I wasn't going crazy right around the holidays, but I just had insulin resistance and I had this extra weight I couldn't lose. And I had this chronic inflammation and my labs were slightly elevated and I was more tired and, just out of my normal air quotes routine, so to speak. So it's not the few days of high calorie eating. It's the snacking, the mindlessness, the more opportunity and the things you say yes to. And the more like downtime, right? There are people around here in the oil and gas industry that take 2-3 weeks off. Some of them take most of December and January off. In the oil and gas industry, because it slows way down. These used to be some of my patients, and they'd be like, "Man, doc, I packed on time. I haven't done anything. I've been sitting around not doing anything." Right. So the reality is, if you go into the holiday season with a plan, then you can make progress and enjoy the eating and the food, right? You can so-called have your cake and eat it too in moderation, because that fasting lever is such a powerful tool coming in and out of these experiences and these occasions. Yeah.
So like even that decrease in physical activity, like we're going into we're smack dab in the middle of the gray season where it's like for a lot of us, we spend more time indoors, less time getting out, getting sunlight, getting active, where it's just this slowdown. Well, of course, I have this physical proximity. I'm closer to the kitchen. I'm closer to the pantry, closer to the fridge. I'm a little more bored.
I am so glad that we live in Houston, where our cold isn't really that cold and there's no snow. I don't know how some of y'all live in North Dakota and Alaska and Canada. Like I grew up in New England, and man, seasonal affect disorder is a real thing. Like I moved to Florida and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Or so.
Yeah.
I feel it here in Houston. Never mind what you're describing. We're like, you're literally limited because of the season.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly why getting in front of your long-term goals this time of season, rather than waiting until next month, or
when you're in the muck of it.
Yeah, when you already put on those few extra pounds and you're already in the habit of the last 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 weeks of sedentary lifestyle, maybe some more just like mindlessness food choices, or not really food choices, but just availability.
Holiday
Yeah,
opportunity, cake celebrations and cookies at the office, neighbors giving you stuff and baking you
sure.
cakes, and grandma doing her thing, and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff,
Right.
right?
Good. I mean, good problems to have, but at the same time,
Right.
if hey, it's a few times a day, and I'm trying to
Never
control
mind just
my.
walking by the stuff in the grocery stores
Yeah,
too,
right.
right? Okay,
Opportunities abound.
forget about that.
Yeah.
Instacart, all right? Like, get out of my
colors
face.
colors everywhere. They make them, they're just very attractive foods
Mhm.
everywhere. And then when boredom or frustration, or maybe it's the stress of the holidays, loss of loved ones and things like that, it can be tough going through the holidays for a whole host of reasons that lead to more just more opportunities, which isn't good for our insulin sensitivity or our insulin resistance. So when you're thinking about that and going, okay, how can I get in front of this? Well, assuming that there are going to be some more opportunities, assuming that there are going to be some days during the holiday season where you have less control, then
Yeah.
take the opportunity to control some more of those days earlier in the holiday season rather than waiting. Because waiting, I'm gonna have a more complex, worse problem that I'm gonna have to fix in
I'll just
January.
start after the new year. I'll do a New Year's resolution. No, you
Oh
won't. We know
yeah.
the statistics lie to you on that.
Yeah, it's going to be hard as heck too to pull
Yeah.
that off after those weeks and maybe even months of like ingrained patterns. Like I'm digging myself a deep rut from October into November and then into December, waiting until January. Like these are physiological ruts. Like a week or two back, we talked about the metabolic switch, right? And
Well,
flipping that metabolic switch. Well, that metabolic switch is more pushed over to the side of sugar burning and fat storage rather than the fat burning mode that I want it to be in. The
right.
longer throughout the holidays I go without putting some deliberate effort into my nutritional choices and into my fasting. So again, we don't have to change everything, but we are going to have to, kind of make sure that we keep our long-term goals in mind throughout the holiday season, and not turn a blind eye to them, right? Which can be easy to do.
Yeah. And people will say too, it's like, wow, man, I'm just not in a routine this time of year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. Um, we've had a hell of a fall in the Water household
Mm,
with
yeah.
sickness and just it's just been a weird. I was like coming out of summer, I'm like, all right, get back into a routine. And I'm like,
Nope.
man, like I ain't got no routine going this year. Like this
Mm,
fourth quarter has been weird. I just don't understand why. Kids are older, school change, I don't know, whatever it is. Um, but the reality is that if we zoom out a little bit and we look at, the fact that we tend to put on autopilot, or it's not the right time, or um, why can't I be on point? So what's the point type mentality? We're talking about a couple of pounds here, right?
right.
1 to 2.5 kilos. So 2.2 to, just under 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that big, but
Sure. No.
multiply that by 10. There's a decade. Multiply that by 4. There's 4
Mm,
decades. So there is a routine to this season. Now you can either be used by it or use it to your advantage.
mm.
And come January, you're going to see the new sea of gym goers and,
Boot campers.
boot campers and New Year's resolution. Well, most people, I think New Year's resolutions have lost their luster, right? The, who was the guy who used to do the New Year's parade for forever? The New Year's countdown.
Like Dick Clark.
Dick Clark,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it's a new year. What are you going to work on? And nobody cares about New Year's resolution, right? We know the stats tell you that too. So
Yeah.
when everybody else is starting to get their bleep together, you're going to already be like starting a new routine. You're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to have some perspective on what just worked and what didn't work.
Mm.
Imagine not even like I want to lose during the holiday season. Imagine for the next 10 years, you just didn't gain during the holiday season.
Oh, that's a huge win.
That's a net positive, right?
For
And
sure.
that's why the last thing I want to talk about today is really don't make your goal about losing the first 10 or the last 10, right? Or the first 5 or the last 5
During the holidays?
during the holidays or anywhere, any time in general. Make it about the habits that come along with it. And this is why episode 125, go back and listen to it, one of our most downloaded episodes, where we talk about motivation and this mythical creature that will just be more motivated after the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You might be slightly just because there's a correlation with it being January.
Right. Maybe.
But that doesn't last very long. So this mythical creature of motivation and gaining momentum is it's not you get motivated and you take an action. You start with an action and then you start to feel motivated and gain momentum, right?
Yeah. Momentum is really like the name of the game. And that's why I think it's so important to not put off our long-term goals during the holiday season, whether it's the whole Q4 or just that month between Thanksgiving and Christmas or New Year's or so, because it's easy to lose a lot of momentum in a matter of 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks like that, especially when it's just kind of been like, nah, I'm going to come back to it. Because it's a passive mentality and it's easy. And I've done it not 100 times. I've probably done it 20 different times, maybe, like that seasonal putting off the goals, maybe like 15 to 20 times over different years. So the point being that if I can say, you know what, momentum is so important that I want to make sure that I insulate that momentum, that's literally keeping that maintenance goal like really, really front of mind during the holiday season. And that means that's going to be a net win. That means that I don't have to restart the engine. I just have to hit the gas a little bit. Like I'm already in that mentality. I know what the goals are. I've been making some conscious choices to maintain progress or at least not go too far off track. And then if I see the scale kind of tick up, then hey, maybe I can do something about it. It's mid-December, but in years past, maybe that wouldn't have been on the table. That's a net win. So like understanding that and kind of recalibrating what the December goals are, I think is an important part of it. And that's part of getting away from the black and white perfectionist mentality that I found myself in over and over and over again.
And we tend to have this black and white on-off mentality around the holidays. Either, can't be on point, so what's the point? Or I'll just pick it back up in January. I'll be fine. Like it's just like either you're all in or you're all out, right?
Right.
Well, the reality is the truth falls somewhere in between, right? So what we don't want to be is overly aggressive this time of year, right? And set just unrealistic expectations because you're just setting yourself up for failure. But then we also just don't want to stick our head in the sand either.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So the reality is this is our call to action for you for this holiday is get a coach. We have a challenge coming up and it's the last challenge of the year. And dare I say it's the best one because we're going to walk you through how to keep the momentum going. If you started earlier with us in October or November, right? And you've got some momentum, how we're going to keep that motivation and momentum and insulate yourself from yourself through the holidays and still have fun and enjoy all the things and do the right things and start 2025 with a bang.
Heck yeah.
Or if you've already like, crap, I already messed up Thanksgiving. Now I've just got a few more weeks until the new year. Let me just survive through it. Right. You're going to have accountability, encouragement, in the time you need it most when you're in a slump.
Yeah.
Not when you're on the hitting streak. So head to the show notes, click the link, sign up. We're going to take you through 7 days of guided fasting. And we're also going to really talk a lot more about the things that move the needle for lifetime transformation and kind of give you open your eyes to what it looks like to have a successful fasting and weight loss journey. And we're going to talk a lot about motivation and momentum and habits and how to optimize your fasting, right? And how not to be in that on-off, fasting. I'm either on when I'm on with fasting, man, I'm good. But when I'm off, holy guacamole, the buffet's open, right? Like,
that hot cold.
Yeah, we want to find that middle ground with you, and that's ultimately what we're going to do. So, a couple of just tips is get the coach, get some coaching, leverage us, leverage the experience, leverage the 6,100 people that we've taken through these challenges now over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
We don't want to be too aggressive or too, crazy or just completely turn a blind eye, right? And then, there's just some simple things you can do in getting some consistency, like, prioritizing protein and, hitting consistent fasting windows and still planning your week out, even though the routine doesn't seem the same because kids are out of school and travel and holidays and opportunity and whatnot. But that doesn't mean you just stop planning, right?
Of course. Of course. And because it's going to take a little bit longer than you're expecting in order to kind of, gain that momentum. So, even if I'm starting off here in December and I'm wanting to, see some results, like don't expect necessarily big scale wins in the month of December, like you said, but,
right.
But think about it this way. Sure. It
you
can.
join a challenge, you're going to have wins.
Yeah. Right. But
I'm going to tell you.
On the flip side of that, you go, if I wait until January or maybe until February when the gyms kind of die down and I know that, then how long will I expect to need to in order to see results on the scale, results in my mindset and in my actual like consistency? It might be February, March, with consistency before I kind of see that momentum gain. So it's like absolutely the time is absolutely now. Whatever your health and weight goals are, like this is the time to start pushing that momentum right now with the accountability that we're talking about. Like it's an incredible opportunity here at the end of the year.
Yeah, you can bring the motivation of the new year to you right now.
Yeah.
It's just a decision, right? So the encouragement today is, if you're looking for some fasting windows, head to the show notes, grab the blueprint of fasting for fat loss, re-engage. Don't stick your head in the sand, right? If you're looking to accelerate and lose and really ramp up that momentum, join us on the next challenge. It's going to be a great one. It's our favorite challenge of the year because it literally is during my favorite time of the year, which used to be my least favorite time of the year because I was always worried about the scale and how I felt and my, all the diet baggage that used to come with it. Now it's my favorite time of the year because we get to do this with you guys. We get to re-anchor our own, transformations and our own lifestyle changes that we've made. We get to do it with a whole bunch of fun people. And we ultimately get to continue to level up our delivery and how we encourage and how we can help you get the results you're looking for. So head to the show notes, click the link, join us for the challenge, grab the blueprint, grab the fasting schedules, reach out to us if you got questions. Now is the time. If you're in a slump, if you're feeling a little behind the eight ball, now's the time to take an action, which then gives you the motivation and the momentum to keep going. So, Tommy, just an interesting conversation. Hopefully, you guys are going to take something actionable out of it today. Yeah. It's going to resonate with you. We've done this for a while now. We've had a lot of these conversations, a lot of messages around this time of year. And that's why we put a little extra focus rather than a little less focus on really just crushing the holidays, getting, being around and having those enjoying moments with loved ones, and really coming out on the other side with massive momentum for 2025. So
love it.
All right, man. Good conversation. Appreciate it as always, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.
So, you've heard today's episode, and you may be wondering, where do I start? Head on over to thefastingforlife.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive fasting tips and strategies to maximize results and fit fasting into your day-to-day life.
While you're there, download your free Fast Start guide to get started today. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fasting for Life.